So welcome to this week's live. I'm here with my co-hosts, Heather Meeks.
Hello.
Tracy Evans and Lynn Peltzer. And Tammy Hudgen, in case you don't know me. So today we're going to be talking about how to handle difficult situations. And us three are all grateful for Lynn because she's the one talking this subject today because our philosophy is just to run and hide.
I have a couple.
Do you have a couple?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
good
Tracy and
morning.
I, we're just going to sit back here.
Tiana, Kathy, good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Carmela, thanks for
All
joining
right,
us.
so Lynn, get us started with talking about how to handle difficult situations.
Well,
Wow.
first of all, nobody likes them,
No.
but it's
Of
inevitable.
course.
You're going to have them in life and in business. It might be with a family member. It could be with your own child. Oh, my reminiscing over the weekend. Sorry, she's not going to watch. But anyway, it could be that, but more so for me, it's about in business. When
Yeah.
you're working with people, people are not always going to be happy with how things go down.
Yeah.
Sometimes you couldn't have avoided what it was, and it can be all about perception. So I have a few tips, and then I have something, I don't really know what to call it, because I don't want to call it by the negative name,
Yeah.
but it's a sandwich. It's to explain a sandwich of how to handle it at the end.
Use the PG thing.
Yeah. The poop sandwich.
The poop sandwich.
Mhm. Yeah, but before I do that, Heather, tell me what, do you have a specific experience to share?
Well, everybody knows I've been in network marketing for quite a while, and I feel like in that industry you get quite a bit of objections, quite a bit of pushback from people. And I don't know, I can't even count on my hands the number of times I've had people just right away respond just on a regular, reach out, and immediately it's a pyramid scheme comes up. So that's always one of those, kind of preconceived notions about our type of businesses. For me, over the years, it used to really bother me. I used to kind of get upset and think, why does this person want to challenge me on this? But now I look at it as a learning opportunity and I ask questions. And that, to diffuse any type of difficult situation, is huge, because as soon as you start asking questions, people really feel like, you're curious and that you're listening to them, right? So I always go back with, oh, really? Well, tell me about that. And then it opens up the conversation and the dialogue for me to be able to diffuse that, pushback. So, that's kind of how I handle it. I handle it with questions, and I find people really respond well to that. But you're always going to get the people who, it doesn't matter what you do, there are people that are looking to argue. They're looking to debate. They're looking, to
Bye-bye.
yes.
There's a few
And-
of those that's okay too.
And it is okay. And I think people need to understand that not engaging with those type of people is your best ammunition.
Yeah.
Just do not add fuel to the fire. Do not engage.
Well, and I think too, the tone of the message can also put us in that difficult situation, right? Because you can send a message and how someone responds, you realize that maybe the way you wrote it, your tone came across differently, or they read it in the tone of whatever mood they're in, which can create that difficult situation.
Absolutely.
And now it's coming back and forth and you've created some friction, right? So I even think, it's about how we write, how we answer people, or maybe asking the questions, so that, we're not instantly putting ourselves into that situation of awkwardness of okay, I'm sorry, that's not how I meant to sound in my message to you, or whatever it might be.
You're so right, because sending text messages or messages via Messenger or emails for that matter, I always look over what I've written, because sometimes when you're in a rush or you're just really trying to just get to the point, it can come across as very crass, or it can come across as, maybe you don't give a poop.
Yeah.
But
It's
so
an issue
it
for
is
me
hard.
because I do answer a lot of stuff quickly because I'm always multitasking, and then I'll send it off, and then you get a message back and you think, oh my God, I didn't mean for it to sound that way, right? And it was because I rushed in answering as opposed to taking a second and just go, okay, and then write the message, right?
Mhm.
I think a big part of it too is we have a filter. So if we have a preconceived idea that they're going to take something
Yes.
negatively, or
Right.
they're going to respond negatively,
Right.
even when it's not intended that way, we put it through our filter, and like, I knew it, and
Yes.
can create challenges too,
Mhm.
right? So
And-
That's so
and
there's-
getting rid of our stories.
That's so true.
And there's
Yeah.
words, as I'm going to get into this part, is the words that are a little bit inflammatory, that when we're responding to something, when we look over it again, we realize, oh, when I said always, only, just,
Yes.
you know, there's certain words. Are there any other words you guys can think of that when you say those, you
Yeah,
realize
always
if I
is a trigger
just took
word.
that out? Even but. The
Yeah.
word but is a difficult word, because
Mhm.
sometimes when you say, I hear what you're saying, but
That's a
I can't help
disagreement.
you with that.
Yes.
Instead,
Mhm.
replace but with and.
Mhm.
I hear what you're saying, and I have a solution. You know, or something like that. Like, honestly, when you read over it, when you're not feeling a little hot-headed, because if somebody's attacking you, you know, you can respond that way, of course, in your mind. You're like, but then when you look back on it, you're like, just take out that word, just take out that word, just take out
I
that
never
word.
thought of that.
And that's going to soften it
That's
a lot.
such a good
'Cause that's
point.
Yeah,
all we
I never even crossed my mind about that.
And what you said about when you're reading it back over, which implies waiting, because
Mhm.
I mean
Right.
that like
Right.
responding when
Every
we're
emotion
super fiery, like you really have to let things digest.
Yeah, that 24-hour rule,
Oh,
right?
there are so many times where I'm like, I'm just gonna, and my
Yeah.
husband is like, don't
Yeah, right?
think about it. And then the next day I think, oh my God, could I even imagine if I would have said that?
I
You know,
know.
you just open up a whole new can of worms,
You know
right?
what I
So-
do is I'll send myself the message.
Oh,
Yeah, idea.
Right? I send it to myself, exactly what I'm thinking at that moment.
Uh-huh.
And then the next day I'll go back, reread it, and go,
Wow.
oh, ooh, okay,
What
Candace.
a
And then I
great
go and I
start.
rewrite it. Yeah. So by sending it to yourself, you know, because you don't want to do a draft because by accident you might hit send or something, right? So yeah, just send the message to yourself of how you're feeling
Yeah.
right at that
Yeah.
moment. And that will give you the 24 hours that you need to calm
Yeah.
yourself down before
So
you
good.
respond and you eliminate that situation.
That's
So
a
you
good
had
idea.
some pretty good tips after all.
After
right?
all.
See,
Go
gotta draw them out. Hello, Kathy Nesbitt. I see
Oh,
you're
there's
supposed to.
Darla.
It's your first time getting
Oh,
online.
yay!
Congratulations.
Hi,
Looks like
Darla.
there's
Hi, Darla.
something else
Morning.
under there, but-
Yep. That
Okay.
might be. So, okay, so you guys said a lot of what I was going to say already.
Oh,
But
jeez.
so here's my tips. I wrote them down. Number one, establish the facts. So when something comes in, like, is it true or is it perception?
Right.
Your perception, their perception. Is it true? Like, let's say somebody bought a product from you and it's broken and they're really inflammatory in their response to you. Well, it's true. It was broken, right?
Yeah.
I sent you a picture. It was broken. Okay.
Yeah.
Or is it their perception that it didn't work because nothing has ever worked for them before and this isn't going to work either? And then you also have to be sensitive to that because that's their reality.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to completely agree with it, but being sensitive to it. So
Mhm.
get all the
Mhm.
facts. And number two is ask questions. So you may need to respond back with, yeah, tell me more about that. Or
Mhm.
could you explain a little bit further before I, handle that?
Now, would you, when you establish the facts and ask your questions, would you then offer them a solution of whether it would be, an additional bonus or discount on their next order or whatever, you know what I mean? Just to try to, hey, you know what, I'd love to make this up to you. Sorry that you ran into this, how would I offer you this? Or would you do that?
Absolutely.
I would, yeah.
If you can, if it's true,
Right.
even if it's perceived and you look at what your policies are or what you want to, what your policies you want them to be, even if they're not written
Right.
around how you respond to that stuff, definitely offer something.
And we have to remember that in those situations when we're having a negative client issue, how we fix it can actually deepen the relationship.
Oh,
Yes.
So you're not
big
just
time.
salvaging
Right.
it, you can actually
Yes.
make it better.
Mhm.
When I was,
Yep.
I had my oil changed at Speedy, and they didn't put the cap on, so it slicked my whole car on the way home. Yeah, it was awesome. This was years
Not
ago.
awesome, but awesome.
And
Yeah.
it was years ago, and so I took it back in the next morning. And of course, it's covered in oil, and I can't get my windshield clean and what have you. And they shampooed my engine twice. They gave me 4 free oil changes. They couldn't do enough for me. Now, obviously, it was could have been a dangerous thing and what
Yeah.
have you.
Right.
But how they handled it kept me coming back.
Yes.
stuff happens.
Keeps you coming back.
Yeah.
You're telling about your experience right,
Right.
now. You
Yeah.
would tell other
They're
people. Yeah. Oh, well,
What I like about that too is, and I don't know, I don't want to take it away from your list, but like a lot of times admitting your fault
Yeah,
Yes.
goes
absolutely.
such a long
Yeah.
way. I think that it is a really terrible personality trait to play the blame game and point fingers at other people.
Just
I
own
mean,
it.
when you own it, it's huge
Yeah.
for people. So
yeah. And about the timing, it can't go too long. Like
You're
24
right.
hours is a good thing to cool off, but that's the max.
Yeah.
If
Yes,
not,
Yeah,
yeah,
don't
people
go
are like,
longer than that.
she's
Yeah.
ignoring me.
she's ignoring
Yeah,
me. It's not important. Yeah, so I think I gave this example when we were talking about something else, but I had something that came incorrectly from Pampered Chef that they sent to me, and there was a place there, please email. And so I did, and I got an email back immediately saying, like a auto respond email,
Yeah.
saying, we will get back to you within 12 to 24 hours or 24 to 48 hours, whatever it was, to handle this. We're sorry that you had a problem. And I was like, oh, well,
Wow.
at least I know my email got to
Yeah.
someone and I know about how much time it's going to take to handle it.
It's been
That's
acknowledged.
really good.
It's
Yeah,
interesting,
I was
you know,
happy with it.
Mhm.
When I flew out to Atlanta for the Plunder Conference, for those that follow me know that there was a huge, a lot of things that happened to get us there, but one of them was we had some issues with our flight and so forth. So we ended up being delayed almost 10 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
So when I got home from that weekend, I actually filled it. I called Air Canada. Then they guided me to where to fill out an actual report. So I filled out a report September 5th. Got an immediate auto response saying, not to worry, we've got
Yep.
this. Here's your case. But I've heard nothing since September 5th.
Air Canada.
Air Canada. So,
Air Canada.
Yeah.
so
Same thing
I,
happened to me one time.
so late last week, I sent a follow-up email and just said if someone could give me a status on my blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
and nothing.
Yeah. Really
And I'm
knocking
expecting,
it
to
down.
be honest with you, I'm expecting $400 refund
Yeah.
on my flight. So
Yeah.
this isn't just me filing a complaint. This is me going to try to get money back
Mhm.
of the service.
Mhm.
But yeah, so then I'm like, wow, like it should never take you that long to
No way.
respond.
No way.
September 5th. So almost a month.
Mhm.
Yeah. At least just someone acknowledge me that we did get it. We are reviewing it. It's going to take some time.
Helps.
You know, maybe it's a couple of month process. I don't know.
Yeah, there's
Right,
some
but-
channels we have to go
yeah,
through.
but
right,
right
you know.
now I'm just waiting for someone to even respond to my
Yeah, the
original
clarification
complaint.
thing
Yeah.
is huge for people.
Right.
People just want to know where they're at.
Validation.
And that they
Absolutely.
were heard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're going to establish the facts. You're going to ask more questions. You're going to take a little bit of time, but not too much time
Mhm.
to respond. You're going to craft a response, which we're going to talk about. And thinking about those words, really important. And here
Mhm.
comes the sandwich. So this is you know, you could get good at this, learning how to do this if you on the spot have to make a response in person to somebody, but when you have time to type an email or a text or some kind of Facebook message, you can think about it. So the first piece of the bread on the sandwich is acknowledging them.
Yeah.
So totally, you've gotten the facts. You're like, you know, I understand how you feel. I, you know, looked into this, and yes, you're correct. Blah blah blah. Right? Your
Yeah.
flight was really late. We understand that that would have taken, you know, 10 hours out of your short trip that you had planned. It was important. It was business. You need to get there. We totally understand. So that's the first piece of bread. The yummy, nice white bread, fresh out of the oven. And then in the middle is the not so nice part, if you have a part that's not so nice. Because it's not always, but sometimes you might have to say, but, and I hope
No,
this
don't
isn't
use
what's
the word
gonna
but.
happen.
Don't use the word
Right.
but.
And thank you. And our policy is that we would give you a percentage of that back.
Right.
So you're expecting $400, and perhaps they're only going to give you $100. So and they have to deliver that sort of
Right.
negative part. If it's all good, they're giving you $100. It's like
Yeah.
it's a peanut butter and jam sandwich. Well, maybe it's not. So then that middle part is that, and then the last piece of bread has got to be, again, you know, acknowledging, edifying.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service. We appreciate, yes, that sort of thing.
We
You
look
might
forward
think
to
it's
continuing
standard.
to work with you,
Yes.
or Yeah.
And you know,
It's
it
the fluff.
sounds a little cliche, like you
No,
get
but-
those, but it actually means something.
Yeah.
If you didn't say that and you sent a message saying, you know, it's not really our fault. There
Yeah.
was
Sorry,
mechanical
yeah, right.
problem.
You got there, that's our service level.
Exactly. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. If that's all it was,
But at
And
least
said-
acknowledge.
and then at the end
Yeah.
said, "Thank you for
Yeah.
choosing Air
Yeah.
Canada," you'd be like,
Well, I won't be choosing Air Canada again.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You see how
exactly.
different it is? But just
Yes.
using
Yeah.
that model of like the softness on top to acknowledge the thanking and softness at the end, but maybe you have to deliver something that just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, like you've had that product for 8 months, our records show, and we have only a 60-day return policy.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing I can do, or maybe there is something I can do, but I know it's not going to be exactly what you want, but you still deliver that. So
I wonder how everybody else handles.
And
Well,
I can't.
Drop them in the comments. I would love
There could
to
be-
know. We would
there might
all
be
love to
some in
know.
there, actually. So-
How do you handle difficult situations? Because I feel like we're all different, and I feel like I bet you there's some really good advice out there.
Well, this is a really interesting technique because it's what we get schooled on from a business perspective if you have employees. So if you have employees and you have to
Mhm.
deliver a difficult performance message or
Mhm.
something like that, you always start with, you know, I'm really appreciating how you do this. You find something good.
Yeah.
You start with the good.
Right.
You then
Absolutely.
sandwich in the negative message, like
The
this
poop.
could be a little bit better, you know, whatever. And then you say, you know, really looking forward to helping you grow into this role or helping you
Mhm.
achieve the objectives so that we can move
Laura
forward.
what
put,
can you do
uh,
with kids?
Laura Schemos. Hello, Laura. She wrote a great comment. She said, "This is why I love using voice messages." So
Right.
there is that voice memo option in Messenger, and I actually use them a lot.
Yes.
And you know, she said it eliminates the worry about tone,
Yes.
unless of course your tone is
Is
witchy. But it
Yeah.
really does,
Yeah.
and it you know showcases your personality. You can really hear that apology in your voice or that
Yeah.
sentiment in your voice, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's a great point, Laura. Thanks for sharing.
And Dale said the same thing. Good morning, Dale. And Darla also said she worries about tone and she tends to use emojis, which is also,
Yeah.
you know, if it's something where you can, sometimes
Yeah, I
it's,
try to do emojis
yeah, sometimes
too.
it's too professional that you can't use an emoji. Kathy, send the message to yourself. Yeah, Kathy laughs it off. I bet. Kathy just laughs her way into everyone's heart.
Deal
So,
right away with the issue. Yeah, absolutely.
yes, deal right away with the issue. Yeah, I think there's, it says 2 new comments here.
Now, sometimes though, you're
There
going
we
to be in
go.
a
Woo.
difficult
Yeah, Beth.
situation. Sorry. Do you want to read Tracy's?
Yeah, Tracy says, I love this, ladies. It's all part of solution-focused training that I learned years ago and now teach at work. Yeah,
Mhm.
you got
Solution
sometimes.
focused.
Yeah, sometimes the solution isn't exactly what the other person wanted, but you know, you have to
Yeah.
offer a
Yeah.
solution, and it's all about those other parts: the words, the timing, softening it.
I love that sandwich analogy, though.
I know, right?
It's
So
good.
you'll never
And I think-
forget.
No.
I think too, sometimes you are in a difficult situation and you know you want to get out of that situation. So what I tend to recommend to people is don't put the blame on the other person. Really look at what the situation is and figure out how it is that maybe the two of you don't work well together. So it's not that you're pointing fingers at that person because
Mhm.
they've come at you or
Yeah,
whatever it might be. You know, do what you can to take, and I shouldn't say take responsibility, but I think in some cases we just have to take the responsibility so that we can end that difficult situation and be able to move forward.
Mhm.
So, you know, look at the situation and go, okay, what can we both take out of this? How do I word this so that it's understanding that we just aren't going to work well together, whatever it might be. I mean, I've had to use it in my own business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where I've had clients that it's just not going to work for us. So, and it's based on who I am and based on who they are.
Mhm.
We're just not a good fit.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I've always worded my message to them to say, you know,
It's
I
not
just,
you, it's
right,
me.
it's me. It's, you know, I
Famous,
just
it's
don't
not
feel
you,
that
it's
this
me.
works well with how I work. I don't know, whatever, right? But yeah. No, I know.
And there are some situations that are so abusive coming to you
Mhm.
that you don't have to handle.
Don't
That-
get
that- there's
engaged.
not very many, probably, but there will be some that there's just zero engagement, delete, take the loss, and that's it.
Or kill
You know?
them with kindness.
Yeah.
Kill with kindness. Yep.
No kidding.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Have a fan day.
I'm losing your business, and it's all good.
But try not to miss the opportunity, because I had somebody come onto one of my posts for my certification who was from a competitive certification and started attacking ours on my ad.
That's terrible.
Wow.
That's what I mean about
I don't
those
even
people
understand
that you're- Yeah.
But I can hide the comments if I
Tell
want
them who
to.
they are. We got
But
your
it
back.
gave me the opportunity
We gotta be that.
and
Educate them.
to educate, right? And
Yes.
so there was a whole
Yep.
stream of me just educating on the value of my program. And I didn't have to defend myself. I'd say, oh, they're very different certifications, absolutely. While yours is more intuitive, this one is much more objective based. And then I get to ramble on about all the great things.
So it turns into a positive for you
Absolutely.
of marketing,
Yeah,
right?
That's
Yeah.
true.
Don't miss the opportunity, especially if someone's trying to do it in public. And you certainly on those public forums can't go, beat it.
Right.
Stop
Why?
talking.
Why?
You know, but you can also hide the comments and they don't know you can.
Yeah, but you probably worked through like the sandwich basically too.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Because I had to validate her. She wasn't validating mine, but I was validating her certification.
Right.
Because I have a lot of respect
You have
for all
to.
certifications. Everybody working
Well,
with
and I think you have to
certifications.
too. Just from, let's be honest, if it's happening in social media, I mean, how you respond is how it's going to be reflected on you anyways.
That's right.
100%,
So, right, people are
yeah.
going to read that and go, wow, she handled that situation quite well.
Yeah.
Right? And then you give inspiration to other people
Yeah.
to kind of think about how they would
Yeah.
respond to something,
Yeah.
right? Because we see so much of it in social media.
But it's
Um,
often an opportunity to share your knowledge too, and look like an expert. So, because I was able to share back all the knowledge I had on the other certifications, not just that one, and how I
Right.
differentiate and what the value of the other ones are versus mine.
That's pretty awesome. Well, I
Yeah.
hope this was helpful and thought provoking. So, you know, we always talk about
mhm.
this in our group, that whatever the topic is over the next week. So if anybody wants to share anything, you know, about a situation they've had, how they handled it, that would be
Yeah.
beneficial to everyone else,
Yeah.
please do that. Maybe
Mhm.
we'll find some other stuff to post for you guys this week too.
Yeah, some examples would be great to help anyone
Yes.
that's following inside this group, right? Maybe
Yeah,
they're
sure.
going through something right now and
Mhm.
they could use the help on how to handle it. So,
Yeah, don't hesitate to ask questions. That's why
Yeah.
That's where you
absolutely.
are.
All right, so we will see you
Have a great
guys
night.
later. Have a great day.
Bye.
Happy